Hey guys, Joe here. Today we're doing a bit of a 2-for-1. We're looking at the 4-inch pump pliers and 4-inch pliers wrench from WorkPro. These are very similar to some other tools on the market, and we will talk about that. But these are very interesting. I think they'll be good for those of you that are looking to put together a budget kit or a kit for many people, or maybe you're interested in some of the more expensive brands that have something similar to this, but you're not quite sold on the mechanism over your traditional tongue and groove type tools. You can get these and try them out. And so that's pretty neat. That's actually the C I'm in. I've been looking at Knipex alternatives for a while now. Not because there's anything wrong with Knipex. I just want to see what else is out there, especially looking at tools from Japan. But before I pay those tariffs and whatnot, I want to see if I even like the mechanism. So this is going to allow me to do that, and as well as test these out for you guys that may want to just use these. I work with, agriculture stuff, bike stuff, car stuff. So I'm more interested in longer lasting tools. But if you're just going to use these once in a while, there's no reason to pay the Knipex premium or the premium of some of those other tools out there, because these I think will work just fine. Now, this is just a first impressions. I opened them up, used them a couple times just to get a feel for them. We will be testing these long term. I didn't want to muck them up too much before making this video because I kind of want to show it as a before, where we do a follow-up down the road and you can kind of see how they hold up. Specifically, I want to look at how the spring mechanism holds up and the heat treat on the teeth. So I really want to show you those teeth before I really start using them. And the other thing to keep in mind, these were sponsored, sent to us by WorkPro themselves, so they could have been the best ones on the shelf that day. We don't know. We're going to just see what happens and keep that in mind. Mine may be different than the ones you get. Who knows? Now, in terms of pricing, I think that's what really makes these attractive, other than their apparent pretty decent build quality. These are each running roughly between $13, $15, I think I've seen on the low end, just depending where you look, up to I think 19 something is the highest I've seen these go. There is a coated version like you see here and an uncoated version. I like black, so that's what I got. And I also wanted to test how long the coating would hold up. It is kind of a Parkerized acid washy type coating. It is not a painted on coating or a DLC. So I do expect it'll tear up pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like your tools looking worn, don't go with the black version. Now, doing a quick size comparison, just so you can kind of see the space savings you get by going with a dedicated pliers over something like a multi-tool. We'll just take up the pliers here and look at the wrench later. This is the SOG PowerPint, I believe it is. You can see pretty true to being 4 inches. It's taller, but in this dimension, more thicky on the SOG there. It's really going to save you on your pouches and whatnot. Putting just one or both of these in there over something like this, you're still going to save on width. So you could stack both of these up next to each other in your pouch. And while they might be close to as thick on the head, maybe a smidge closer, if you were to switch these around like so, you can definitely see that you're saving a little bit on thickness there. So that's really cool. Bringing those back down, here is a Leatherman Wave. See that there? Here is a 4-layer Victorinox. And how I've been carrying it is having both of these with a Victorinox. And that's actually what I would prefer. If I'm going to use pliers or something I'm going to put a lot of pressure on, I want the dedicated tool. I don't necessarily want my Leathermans and other similar multi-tools. I want a dedicated pliers, a dedicated wrench, just for the sake of comfort and for the sake of safety. I don't want to like really ram it and then get some other tool jamming into me because the shock knocked it out of place because I didn't have it tight enough or something like that. So having these together is pretty nice, and being able to save some space is pretty nice as well. Now, when it comes to pump pliers, they are called that because they work like a pump, and they were made most famous with this design, the spring mechanism, by Knipex. Now, with Knipex, a lot of people are going to look at these and go, well, they're counterfeiting them. No, they're not. The Knipex patent expired a long time ago. I will include a link to that patent down below so you can see it for yourself. The reason why so many companies are coming out with their own version of these is it just took that long to figure the mechanism out. This is not a mechanism you can build poorly. You can't rush something that's out. It has to be really nice, really dialed in, or it's just going to be a pile of garbage. And so you're seeing a lot of companies now, many years after the patent expired, finally getting around to coming out with them, specifically from China, but also from Japan. And I believe Spain, a couple other places are making these mechanisms as well now, not just the Germans that did Knipex and a couple other tool brands related to them. So how this works versus a standard tug and groove where you just take it, slip it, you press the button and you slide it to where you want to go, release the button. That button is actuating the spring on the back. It moves the barrel to a place where it's able to go up and down. And when it comes back, that barrel is slotted to kind of lock in to that while also being able to actuate in obviously that direction. This is removable with the spring so that you can clean everything out if it gums up. Now, unfortunately, with these kind of tools, the springs can break, whether it's Knipex or these or anything. That's just the inherent part of having a spring. A spring can and probably will down the road break. I don't see any replacements available from WorkPro. If I reach out to them, I will be sure to ask. But that is one thing with these. I think WorkPro should add an extra spring. Just, hey, it's like a cent, a penny. Just throw in an extra spring. That would give you a little bit better peace of mind that we can repair it on the fly. Now, some will argue, with Knipex, you do get the warranty, but using the Knipex warranty in the United States actually kind of sucks for most people I've talked to, and it doesn't always go in the customer's favor. And with the Knipex, you're paying $30 to $50 per tool, specifically for the set that matches these two, $89 on Amazon, and they may or may not honor that warranty because it's from Amazon. You can get 2 or 3 of these for the price and not have to worry about the warranty service and sending it off to Germany for 3 months, etc., etc. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Going budget in this case might be worth it unless you're really hard using these tools. And the reason why I'm worried about hard using these and wanted to show you guys before we get into it, with the teeth, those are not very proud teeth, not super aggressive, but they're really nice and they really lock in. I'm worried with the heat treat being a more affordable tool, it might be a little too soft where those will just immediately round out with real hard use, or it might be too hard where those peaks will chip. Now, if it's too hard, I can always file them, but if it's too soft, they just kind of mush out. And while we've got this up here, you can also see it's got kind of a pipe routing. So you put it in the pipe and clean it out. It's really nice that they thought to add that. Is on, if I can focus here, on the top and bottom, which is really nice. And you can see that on these, there is that diamond. So it can lock on to nuts, bolts, but you really aren't gonna wanna use these kind of pipe pump pliers on that kind of thing unless it's, really rusted and corroded, because this will scratch the hell out of any nice silvery fittings. You don't want to use this on anything you want to keep looking nice. This is to hold on to iron pipe, anything that is rusted into place, and really manipulate it. You've got small pieces of metal to kind of grab them and bend them. It's a manipulating tool, not necessarily a tightening and loosening tool. That's where this guy comes in. We'll transition to this, and it works very much the same way, same kind of mechanism, actually a little bit smoother here. And how this works is it's completely flat jawed. So this will ideally not mess up your surface. If you want to bend super flat pieces, you can put them in there, clamp it down, and get a little bit of a better angle since it's totally flat. Or if you want to put it on any type of fitting that you don't want to scratch up, you can put it on there and have a better time. And you'll ideally get at least 2 points, possibly 3, depending on the shape of what you're working on. And that'll give you a really nice surface contact for the force. So keep that in mind. If you want one, you might be better off getting both, but if you can only get one for whatever reason, get this. Just understand it's probably going to scratch the hell out of whatever it is you're working on. This can kind of do the work of this. This just does it nicer. And they both, as you can see there, have at the bottom the lanyard holes. That is a really nice thing that a lot of other ones don't have, especially these small tools that are a little bit top heavy. I'm kind of, jittery hand. I might drop them, something like that. If I'm working up on a ladder, or if I'm, worse, working up in the bucket of a tractor or something, trying to work on the barn, which I just did this last weekend, dropping these is not going to be great for the people under me. Also, it's going to suck for me having to go down and get them again, having to go down, 20 feet every 5 minutes because I'm dropping something like a dodo. It's going to suck. So having that lanyard capability is great. And that's, obviously you can do that with some of your multi-tools. You have the little thing where you can put the lanyard on, but just having it on a lighter tool, a more compact tool, that's really awesome. And a lot of the other competitors aren't doing that for some reason. Some of the Japanese ones are, which is cool, but the Japanese ones have a screwdriver bit there. And I'm worried that if I slip off on it, the screwdriver bit's going to go right into my palm. These are really nice, rounded, and comfortable on both sides. And you could probably put some sort of dip on it or shrink tubing if you really wanted to. I don't think it's necessary, at least with the coated version. They're not super slippy, and so I can get a pretty decent grip. It's a matte finish, and you can kind of feel that matteness, if that makes sense. So overall, I think for the price, they're pretty neat tools that, you know, get for working on a bike. If you want to try them out before investing in something like a Knipex, that might be the way to go. I don't think these will necessarily hold up to hard use. That's where the more expensive tools come in, just because of my concerns over heat treatment. They very well prove me wrong as I use them. But we'll see. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw these before I restarted beating on them. Specifically, I wanted you guys to see the flats on this, and I wanted you to see the jaws on this before we make a follow-up video with some use. I want to try to get at least 2 seasons of agricultural, bike, and car use on these before we do a follow-up. But I'm mostly worried about the heat treat. And you can also hear there's a little bit of a tolerance issue. I'm curious if that will worsen over time. And then obviously the spring, I've already talked about that. I would like to see replacement springs because I can almost guarantee these will break. They break on all the tools that are like this, and that's one of the reasons to go with standard tongue and groove if you're interested in that. But overall, I think the mechanism is pretty cool. If you're curious about trying out the mechanism before a more expensive investment, or if you just want to use these every once in a while, I think these are a great option. So thanks to WorkPro for sending these out. I will link to both of them in the description below. And if you're interested in a longer term review, do let me know, and I'll show how these hold up over time, whether the heat treat was dialed in or whether it was too soft, too hard. We'll see. But heat treat is the big thing with these kind of tools because it's make or break, literally. And so only time will tell. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.